59 years old today, and I started something last year on my 58th birthday that has made me feel better than I have since my 30s. And it's free. Since my birthday last year, I've lost 25 kg or 55 pounds, and there's a lot less of me to love, Tracy. And I've done it with one simple technique called intermittent fasting. And I can't hang on to this thing anymore because it's heavy, but I was lugging this around for years, and now it's gone. So intermittent fasting is something that I kind of stumbled across last year, just before my 58th birthday. As I was trying to find something that I could lose weight on, and I've tried a lot of different things to lose weight. But Delay Don't Deny by Jen Stevens was the first book I read, and it made a lot of sense to me. And so I continued on reading anything I could on intermittent fasting. And this eventually led me to a podcast called The Fasting Highway by Graeme Currie, which by coincidence is no relation of mine, but lives in Perth, Australia. And he has a book out called The Fasting Highway. He has a podcast called The Fasting Highway. And he has a Facebook group called The Fasting Highway. And it has helped me immensely. And so we're going to listen to some of that podcast. And it's been edited. So if you want to listen to the whole podcast, I'll have it in the description link and you can listen to the whole thing. But here's a brief description of Graeme and I talking about fasting.
For people out there that may not know you, let's just get a bit of your backstory to start off with, and problems you had with weight in your life or any health issues, and what actually led you to taking up intermittent fasting.
Basically I live in central Canada, Manitoba. As far as growing up, I've always grown up in the rural area. I've never strayed too far from home. Went to the big city for a little bit of university. Did all my high school in a local high school about 15 miles from me. And I didn't really have what I considered a weight problem going through high school. Got out of high school, married my high school sweetheart quite young. I think we were both 20, 21, and still didn't have any real issues with my weight. And then as life went on and we started having children, and we ended up having a family of 6 children, and busy and doing the work thing and going along that way, the weight just started slowly creeping up. So I'm not a very high fella. I'm 5'9", but the weight slowly started going on. So, I think when I left high school, I might have been around that 175, 180 range. Got married, all of a sudden 200 pounds came along. And then it just slowly going up, and until about 2013, I think I was around that 200 to 220 pound range, and I switched jobs. I switched from a job that involved a lot of physical activity and movement, and always moving to a manager job, which was still quite active, but not quite as much, and a little bit of stress came along with it. And then all of a sudden, before I knew it, 2013 on, I guess kind of exploded until 267 pounds. And, I tried a lot of things. And I have tried a lot of things, and some of them have been stuff that you've tried, Trace. I've tried counting calories. I've tried a little bit of keto. I've tried different shake programs. And what the heck was that one?
It was the one where you inject the growth hormone into yourself. So it was over $500 to get started, and you bought the medicine to inject, and then you were to maintain a 500 calorie a day diet, and it did work, but you were miserable, and it was very hard to maintain, and you lost weight, and then it came back.
And I can't actually believe that I actually injected with a needle into my body this hormone, and the idea was it was supposed to take your hunger away and help you lose weight. Well, it was the 500 calories reduction that really did it. So I kind of jumped in slow, 16-8, somewhere in the last week of April, beginning of May of 2020. And, the one thing I did that I'm glad I did is right from the get-go is I did the clean fast, because that's all I knew, and it was anything that I'd read after that book or listened to always stressed that clean fast. So not being a coffee drinker, that wasn't a big problem for me. I didn't have cream in my coffee, so I was able to nail that clean fast pretty quick. And then the weight started dropping, but the first thing that I really noticed is I'd always had problems with my knees and my joints. I always woke up in the morning, would hobble like what I considered an old man for the first 5 minutes until things loosened up. And I work on cement at work, and I would really feel the joints. And it wasn't long after IF that all of a sudden I realized that I didn't have any joint pain. And it was quite amazing to me. IF took care of that inflammation that was causing all that knee pain, and I have not had any knee pain since about late May of 2020, which to me was phenomenal.
I really love that you nailed the clean fast from the start. And I think for a beginner that's listening to this podcast, what we're talking about there in clean fasting is just black tea, black coffee, water, plain sparkling water, or plain green tea, no flavors. And it's so important when we start off like that. And I know I speak to so many people, Greg, that didn't start that way. And then when they do make the switch, it's amazing the results that they get and how they feel and everything else. So please, if you're going to intermittent fast, then do as what Greg did then, start with the clean fast. How about your family? Let's talk about that for a minute. Your family, your work colleagues at the waste management facility, people that know you. How's the support been? Have you had any kickbacks, or you just sort of kept it to yourself what you're doing?
No, well, I haven't kept, like, at the beginning, yes. I guess, at the beginning, you're not sure how this is going to work and stuff. And then as you get into it and things start happening, like the weight loss and the non-scale victories and all that stuff, you start to get really excited about it, Graeme. And I think that's, with your podcast and with your Facebook group, I can see that in other people, that excitement. So my wife has always been 110% behind me, and she actually knows more about nutrition and how the body works and all this kind of stuff. And so when people ask, I will talk to them. My 85-year-old mother thought I was going to starve myself to death, but now she's on board. So I've been on this journey now for a year. I'm calling my birthday, my 59th birthday a year. As I mentioned, I've lost 55 pounds or 25 kg. And I didn't really preach it or push it to anyone because it was something I was still learning to do and still am learning to do. But I'm really, really happy to have my mom and 3 of my daughters now trying it. Just recently, in fact, the last month or 6 weeks. And so we'll hear from them and see what they think. So I'm just going to start off by saying that there's 3 generations of us Curries. My mom born in 1935, and my daughter Jasper born in 1990. And in the podcast that I did with Graeme in March, I mentioned that you thought I was going to starve myself, or you thought I was going to starve myself while fasting. Okay. And now you're fasting, Mom.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. But it worked so well for you that I saw what it was doing, and it was just so amazing that I thought, well, I need to do so a little bit too. So I thought I would try it.
And you weren't complaining, but I'd come in and I said, well, how long have you been doing it? And you said about a month, and only doing it 16/8, and you've only lost
5 pounds.
That's a lot of weight, Mom, 5 pounds.
Well, I guess it is, yeah. And I said I didn't actually feel better, but I do in one way, that I can bend a little better, like I'm losing my pot maybe a little bit.
You're losing your muffin top? That's the best place to lose it.
Well, I know, but I mean, it makes it easier to bend.
Yes, yeah. It does.
Yeah.
And then with you, Jasper, I don't think I was keeping this a secret from you guys about fasting. You guys all knew I was doing it, and all of a sudden, bang, all of a sudden I realized you, Jesse, and now Jenny are all fasting.
Yes. So I wasn't very interested in fasting because you've done some extreme diets. And I just thought I didn't do my own research. So I just thought this was another extreme diet, like that 500 calorie a day one, where I was like, holy smokes, I can't do that. So when I was doing my Weight Watchers and on the same weight for 7 weeks and eating clean and exercising 4 days a week and chugging a ton of water and not eating like popcorn and, my favorite foods, then I came home and Dad's having movie popcorn and he's eating a salad. Well, that's not like him, right? So I was like, what the beep am I doing? Like eating restrictively, and he can have all this delicious food and still lose weight. So I texted him and I said, like, okay, send me what you're doing. I'll do my own research. He sent me Delay, the book.
Delay, Don't Deny.
By Jen Stevens.
Yeah.
I read that and then I was like, oh my God, everything I've been taught is wrong. So then I started doing it that week, and I've only lost 2 pounds, but I feel amazing. Like, my energy is amazing. Like, the kids, Everly's still up 4 days, like 4 times in the night, and when I wake up at 5:30 with her, I don't need a nap. I'm just like, go, 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 and I'm in a good mood, and I feel better.
So, and then the other thing, too, is the podcast. Like, I know both you and Jesse have been listening to the Fasting Highway podcast. So I know you've asked lots of times, like, how do, like, I have a certain routine, how does it work for you? But there's lots of people out there with small children that are doing it. And there's well, all I can say is I'm pretty excited that you guys are doing it now. And I guess I have you on video for this video that I'm sending, is to say that I don't think I ever pushed it. I don't think I ever...
If anything, you didn't push us enough, Dad. We could have been feeling amazing weeks ago.
We should have started a long time ago.
I know. But I don't think we were ready. I think you have to have your mindset to be ready.
Like quitting smoking or doing something like that. You've got to be ready to do it.
Well, I know.
You're a guy that's lost a massive amount of weight, as we said, over the last 12 months. You came to intermittent fasting. You were from a background of yo-yo dieting, you love to drink, that sort of thing, and now you've got all your sort of weight under control, you've got the diabetes too under control. And what sort of things would you say to somebody that just wanted to start out or take this up and sitting there and they think the mountain's too high to climb? They're like me and you, they're massively obese people. What sort of advice can you give them to start, mate?
So today is actually May 23rd and my birthday, and I'm redoing this audio because I ran into a little bit of noise problems at the end of the lane with Tracy. And to conclude, what I would recommend for somebody starting out intermittent fasting, for me it's been a very, very simple sort of way of life. It's not complicated. I never made it complicated, and it's not complicated. And I think that's the magic behind intermittent fasting. I started off to lose weight. I'll probably continue to do this in some form for the rest of my life, just because of all the other benefits, the non-scale benefits. I've lost 25 kg or about 55 pounds in the last year. But, I have energy like I've never had before that I can't remember in the last 20, 25 years. My joint pain is gone. My mood or my outlook on life is better. My kids, my wife, everybody tells me I'm easier to be around, and I think that's because my anxiety level has gone down so much. So there's so many benefits to intermittent fasting. So if you want to try it, there's lots of information out there. What works for me may not work for you, or it may work for you. Everybody's different. IF has been called an experiment of one, and that's probably why diets fail, is because they try and generically make something the same for everybody, and we're not the same. So that's my IF journey in the last year. If you're interested in it, do some research. I'm here to ask questions if you're interested.
That's fantastic, mate. I really love that. Keep it simple. And you probably hear me talk about that a lot. And I'm all about simple intermittent fasting. The book I wrote, The Fasting Highway, was exactly that. I wanted to write something that was simple, easy to relate to, easy to understand. And so many things in this podcast that you said relate to me. And I think any of us that have been, obese or well overweight, we all have so much in common. And then when we talk about it to each other, you're just sitting there nodding your head because you can hear those light bulbs going off and thinking, yep, that was me, that was me. Yeah. And when, I get that a lot when people read my story and they send me messages and they say, that could have been us writing that book, because you sound just like us and we had the similar sort of struggle. So that's why I think people relate to it. But Greg, I can't tell you what it's been a pleasure to talk to you. And your surname's Currie, like mine, spelled exactly the same way.
Yeah.
And let's just say it's popular, not common. And I absolutely love your passion for this journey. And what I'd really like to do, Greg, is maybe follow you up in another 6 months' time, because I know everybody's going to want to know where Greg Currie is at the 18-month mark. But Greg Currie, thank you for joining me today here on the Fasting Highway.